Are you tired of feeling like your life is constantly being dictated by others? Do you often find yourself saying yes to things that you don't want to do, or simply to avoid conflict or please others? It's time to take back control by establishing your personal boundaries. In this episode, we'll discover ways of establishing personal boundaries and providing practical strategies for overcoming them. Join me to discover how setting and maintaining healthy boundaries can transform your relationships, reduce your stress, and promote your overall well-being. All too often, we allow others to define our lives, to dictate our choices, and to disregard our needs. And this can lead to feelings of overwhelm, stress, and resentment, as well as damage to our relationships and our self-worth. However, by setting and maintaining healthy personal boundaries, we can regain control, communicate our needs and values more effectively while building stronger and more fulfilling relationships with others. So if you're struggling to say no, feeling guilty, have the need to please others, or simply unsure where to start, I've got you covered. Honoring your boundaries is the act of setting and maintaining personal boundaries in different areas of your life, such as work, relationships, social interactions. And boundaries are important because they define what is acceptable or unacceptable behavior towards you. And it helps you to protect your physical and emotional and mental well-being. So why are personal boundaries important? When you set and enforce your boundaries, you are protecting yourself from situations that may harm you physically, emotionally, and mentally. And this can include avoiding toxic relationships or setting limits on your work hours to prevent burnout. Honoring your boundaries shows that you respect yourself and your needs. It helps you to maintain a positive self-image and can boost your confidence. You can begin to assertively communicate your boundaries to coworkers who keep interrupting you during meetings. You can also reduce self-doubt and insecurity by trusting yourself and your decisions. You can start to trust your gut feeling and turn down invitations to things that don't align with your values or interests. You can improve your communication skills and reduce misunderstandings or conflicts with others. So for example, setting boundaries around how you want to be communicated with, such as requesting that a friend not call you after a certain time. This establishes trust and respect in your relationship. Another example is respecting your partner's need for alone time and to not take it personally. Or creating boundaries around household chores and coming up with a plan that works for everyone. When we look at what your boundaries are, first you need to identify them. And this requires some self-reflection and self-awareness to understand your own needs, your values, and your limits. So before setting boundaries, it's important to have a clear understanding of your values, needs, and limits. Take some time to reflect on what is most important to you. What triggers stress or makes you uncomfortable? And what do you want from your relationships? And then once you have a clear idea of what your boundaries are, you communicate them assertively and respectfully to others. And you have to make sure to enforce them consistently. This may involve saying no to things that cross your boundaries, setting limits on the amount of time and energy you spend doing things, or ending relationships that are toxic or abusive. It also allows you to establish trust and respect and mutual understanding with others. Now, this is a new pattern for people, so you may have to enforce it multiple times for them to change their behavior. Before setting those boundaries, it's important to have clear understanding of your values, needs, and limits. And also, when you communicate it to others, use I statements and avoid blame or criticism. Be clear and specific about what you need and why. And then listen to their boundaries with respect as well. You can also practice self-awareness. This means paying attention to your feelings and needs and notice when they're being ignored. And this can help to identify areas where you need to set boundaries. Start with small boundaries and then work your way up to bigger ones. So for example, you can start by saying no to requests that you don't have time for, and then gradually set more complex ones. An easy one for me was to say no thank you. I also liked to start with, let me check my schedule and I'll let you know. Maybe you set boundaries around work hours and workload. You can maintain a healthy work-life balance. Maybe negotiate a flexible work schedule or set limits on how many hours you work each day. You can also use physical cues. You can step back if someone steps into your bubble or personal space, and you can use a firm tone with them. If you're struggling to establish or maintain your boundaries, seek support from people you trust, whether they're family, friends, or professionals. They can provide encouragement, advice, and accountability. When you set and enforce your boundaries, you're sending a message to yourself and others that your needs and values matter. By knowing and honoring your values, you can feel more empowered and in control of your life. And it may take some practice and courage to establish and enforce these boundaries, but over time, it can lead to greater self-esteem, more self-respect, and overall well-being. Remember that honoring your boundaries is not selfish or rude, but a healthy way to take care of yourself and maintain those positive relationships with others. So some things that may stand in the way are fear of conflict. And many people avoid setting personal boundaries because they fear conflict or rejection. They may worry that telling people their needs or saying no will lead to negative consequences or damage their relationships. Some people struggle to set personal boundaries because they feel guilty or obligated to please others. They may feel that saying no is selfish or unkind. And some struggle because they lack self-awareness and may not know what their needs and values are. They may feel confused or unsure about what they want or need in relationships. Negative self-talk can be a pain point when it comes to setting personal boundaries. People will tell themselves that they are not deserving of respect or that their needs are unimportant, leading them to tolerate behaviors that violate their boundaries. Fear of abandonment. Some people fear that setting personal boundaries will cause others to abandon or reject them. They may feel that they need to tolerate unacceptable behavior in order to maintain those relationships. Another one is difficulty asserting oneself. For some people, setting personal boundaries is challenging simply because they find it difficult to assert themselves. They may struggle to communicate their needs and feelings clearly and effectively. It's important to acknowledge these and to work through them in order to establish healthy personal boundaries that support your well-being. Seeking support can be helpful during these challenges. It's been an honor to share this space with you today, and I hope you found value in our conversation. Remember, know your boundaries, communicate them clearly, and give others time to adjust. Thanks for taking the time to listen. Until next time,